Welcome and welcome back. My name is Jacob.
And I'm BB.
I'm Aiden, and together we are the Butter
The
Butter
Butter
Bunch.
Wow, Jacob, I love your profile today. It's really a nice looking one.
That's not Jacob. That's
Thank
Jacob.
you.
Fine, Jacob.
Yeah,
Sorry. I
excuse
get my letters confused sometimes. Sometimes B's look like J's to me.
No, sure. It happens
Sure.
to the best of us, but
B's look like J's. J's look like B's. They're the same difference.
Jacob, you won't believe this. Just a little bit ago, Aiden said that you are like Emily, which is crazy because you don't even sound like Emily.
Who's Emily? That's such an ugly name. First of all, who would call that kid Emily? Second of all, I bet she has an awful voice. My voice, honestly, amazing.
Yeah, I mean it's so British.
So British indeed.
Unlike Emily.
Hey, Jacob,
who's notably not.
Jacob, can you also speak some Spanish for us real quick?
No hablo
Yeah, you know that language that language that you're so fluent in.
Yeah. Obviously.
Yeah, of course.
Bonjour. Saba.
Wow, I didn't know Spanish had the word bonjour in it too. Awesome.
Oh, you didn't?
It
I
does.
did. Yeah, it's cool. You know, it was almost a romantic language, but then it just didn't make the cut.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oui.
Yeah. That's also British. They say oui.
Oh, that's what they say.
Down here, we Brits, we are well literatured, languaged.
Oh, very. I'm sure. All right. Yeah, I mean, I guess we're ready, huh?
Yeah.
Chapter 4.
Ooh. Settle down, pupils. Our topic for today is the observer effect. Hailing from the field of quantum physics, it's a theory wherein
you guys can hear it, right?
Observation of a phenomenon inevitably changes that phenomenon. Okay, I admit I lifted that directly from Wikipedia. The most common example has something to do with light and wave particles and blah, blah, blah. But since most of us aren't physicists, here's some more relatable examples. Have you ever had to check the pressure of your car or bike tires? When you do, you unintentionally release some of that air, which changes the pressure and affects your measurement. Or think about how contestants on Bachelor in Paradise behave while the cameras are rolling. Now, they'd never do all of that if they weren't being watched by millions of people. Observer effect is also an excellent bottle episode of Star Trek Enterprise, just kind of as an aside. And even if they weren't looking for love on a tropical island, the residents of Connor Creek were certainly under observation. As we interviewed them, they knew we were recording every word, so it undoubtedly affected their behavior. With all of this in mind, we knew we couldn't entirely trust what anyone said to us, but we could try to figure out why they were saying it. Even under normal circumstances, this is a Herculean task. But with the substantial pressure building up in Connor Creek around the upcoming election, our job was even more challenging. We were using every skill we had to try to check the pressure bit by bit, or risk it all bursting out of the tire, causing a blowout while going 90 on a highway to hell.
Hey, Star Trek ref. Okay, hey.
Wow.
We don't give a shit about your ad.
We couldn't afford to license AC/DC, so the Wayward Guide theme will have to do. Hello, I'm the all-knowing, all-powerful Paul Shoehorn.
And I'm Artemis Shoehorn.
Pay no attention to the sister behind the curtain. Welcome to episode 4 of
The Wayward Guide for the Untrained Eye.
Twin tuition!
You owe me a drink.
I'll take a
Scotch.
tequila sunrise.
I knew we weren't identical. So, remind me how you brought up the observer effect?
Because our very presence in Connor Creek was changing the story we were investigating, even as we were investigating it.
A journalist can never fully be just a fly on the wall.
Oh, now that would be so cool.
What are you, Alan Wake?
Oh,
what do you mean?
cool to be a fly, played by Jeff Goldblum.
But in all seriousness, we
What?
most definitely caused a bigger splash in Connor Creek than we intended.
We attempted to
I
gracefully
mean,
dive
yeah,
into the deep end,
you
but
kind
ended up doing a
of,
big messy cannonball.
There was
As
like
we
a
touched on in
big
the
political
previous
event you ended
episode,
up
Paul and
causing.
I got in a bit of a fight at Minor Mole. It's not uncommon. We're both very, passionate about putting out the best product we can.
We're
I
very
felt underappreciated,
passionate.
so I decided to get some
You and me
clarity with a
both,
tarot
sister.
reading from Prism, who we'd interviewed the day before. I guess you would call her the town's mystic?
Your presence here was foretold, but your equipment not so much. I must ask you to park your microphone in the umbrella stand. I don't permit technology in my inner sanctuary during a reading. The beeps and bops and poops interfere with the energy.
Poops?
What?
I don't think that's a thing.
What if we buy something?
Ooh, I don't know. Mercury's in retrograde. Not anymore.
Wait, is
That'll be
this the
fun.
girl who died
Great.
by the werewolf?
Whoa, that is a...
No, that's the whatchamacallit, the Celine ripoff. What's her name?
Celine? I don't know, I kind of forget.
I absolutely know who these people are.
Exactly, Bake Up. You've been here for every single video. Every single one.
I've been watching in the void of Jacob's
Yeah.
mind. I know this.
Yeah. No, that's the Celine ripoff. I forget her name, but
Super strong vibe you got going on in there. I don't mind it, though. Hey, Artie, doesn't this kind of smell like Mima's poker den?
That's Palo Santo essence with myrrh. I make it myself. It's quite popular. Only
popular.
I'm
You're gonna be
But
popular.
Let me learn a little more about you before you peruse our selection. To the cards.
I could tell she was in the anti-Minor Mole camp. Dark clouds, evil spirits. But beyond that, she was hard to read.
Exactly. I felt that she could
And
be
then she got
concealing
murdered.
something,
Probably.
which is why I decided to go back. Plus, I had a lead I was chasing.
Werewolves?
Remember that book we found at Aubrey's with the missing pages about werewolves? Well, Prism seemed like someone who had a connection to the
Wait,
paranormal.
Prism of
Or
Voices?
at least pretended to have a connection.
Anywho, while I was at Prism's crystal and tea shop getting my card,
more people are talking. What are they saying?
Every-
Yes, this character died because crystals and fireworks officially. Prism is the tarot reader. Okay. That's right. That's the ripoff.
read, we were both attacked. I escaped with only a few scratches. I was lucky, but Prism wasn't.
Prism was murdered.
Coincidentally, right
Oh,
after
hey,
Silas
so she
made
is
some thinly
dead.
veiled threats to us.
Yay.
Well,
Massive skill issue.
There are no coincidences.
Lives.
Exactly.
So it
Just breathe.
begged the questions. How was Silas involved? Was Prism's killer the same as Ryan's?
And would Prism have been
Probably.
attacked if I hadn't gone to see her?
That wasn't a call we could make. But you couldn't deny that this all started the night we arrived.
We were becoming a part of our own story.
The observer effect strikes again.
This is
Did you
this
get a
is
glimpse?
just Alan Wake, guys. You guys can experience this as a horror story for many hours. Alan Wake 2 is phenomenal. Maybe a masterpiece. I can't think of anything wrong with it, actually.
I
Sense of who
can.
attacked you?
I wish I could say I did,
There
but
wasn't enough
they-
rows.
I think I got plenty of rows.
There's not enough rows. I want to see more her armory. I want her to have a machine gun. What's wrong with that?
Nothing. I'm sure she'll show up again at some point.
I want a game about.
I mean,
Rose
she
and
doesn't
machine
get, like-
gun for the bad
Well, I mean,
boy.
we know she doesn't get totally wrecked by the dark presence. So
Which, by the way, that always confused me, girl. How you survived the dark presence?
it's Rose.
Why though? You're just a normal human, to my knowledge. I think
It's Rose.
She garbossed her way out of it. Trust.
Yeah. She went into her little armory hidden in the back of the kitchen and just defeated the eldritch gods that live beneath the ocean.
You see, she gate kept, girl boss, and gaslighted her way to victory. I said the wrong order.
She did. And all the way in her pretty pink dress, saying very cute things while being a dom.
He or it came from behind me. It was weird. Prism noticed something, and this look of horror just overcame her. I turned to see, and bam, blackness. I was knocked right out. The next thing I knew, it was the following morning, and I was waking up at the Dead Canary.
As soon as I got Dr. Henry's voicemail, I bolted over. Beyond the news that you were still alive and being transferred back to the Dead Canary, Madison wouldn't tell me much. But I caught a glimpse inside. Prism's body was still there, draped in shawls, soaked in streaks of blood that glistened in the moonlight. Her injuries were not unlike the ones that Ryan had sustained. An animal wouldn't sneak into a room and only target one person.
So did they just run out of budget or something? Because that's not at all what he looks like in that episode.
He just had like a little scratch on his chest. Oh
No,
my god.
it wasn't even his chest. It was on like his shoulder.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't look like he got attacked by a werewolf. He did not look mauled enough. That was absurd. He didn't even have burn marks from the fucking fireworks.
Or like anything like shard based on his body. I feel like he would have like tense little cuts if like crystals exploded in her face.
I thought
Yeah.
this was a podcast. How are their visuals? When are
There.
visuals?
Oh, Bake Up, you've forgotten. This is a podcast. Like that supplementary material to an actual series with visuals and camera angles.
It's a companion piece to a miniseries.
Yes, exactly,
That's
Bake
good.
Up. How'd you forget? Are you okay,
my
Bake
memory.
Up? Did you
Well, when you
develop
spend-
Quasi's dementia?
When you spend so long in the astral plane with a very annoying astral cat that's also in Jacob's head.
Hey, you know, I'm in the astral plane too.
Yeah, but this is Jacob's astral plane. I'm repressed. I can't even say bad words in there.
Oh no.
Oh,
So
no.
annoying. Wait, I'm free.
You
Shit.
are.
Ah!
Yeah, let's
Hey!
go. Fuck balls, cum, whore, shit.
Oh, it's been
You're
so long. It's been a
free.
year. I haven't said a swear word in. Oh my god, guys! I've missed this.
It's a miracle.
I've been reborn.
No, that's in a church.
Oh, ew.
Yeah, we don't have the water on us right now. With the best we can do is maybe what Catholics do to like an infant. They can just like kind of like dip their fingers inside of like some water and just like kind of flick it at the infant.
Oh
Which
god.
one's the one where they just drown the baby?
I don't know that is.
I think
I don't know
that's
that
called
is
waterboarding. I think it's
yeah.
called waterboarding.
I think you can pay to do that as an adult, actually.
Oh.
So
No, I think I'm thinking of that one called AO3. That's
Oh.
religion.
yeah. See,
Maybe
I was
Tumblr.
thinking. See, I was thinking
pretty
of
similar.
I was thinking of the old, dead, not yet revived niche religion of Wattpad.
Oh, I heard they still have some followers. They're just they're just hanging on. They have to flee to more remote places when AO3 came into the picture. You know, that's a violent religion.
No, sure, yeah, all the colonization and such. I mean, it butchered the texts.
It really messed up the economy as well. I mean, I can't even get my hands on any fluff anymore. It's all been taken over by smut and violence.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
sad.
yeah, Fluff is dead and Lemon is arisen.
And don't forget the occasional limes.
Oh, you can't forget, and in the. I'm not gonna say I can't do that punchline. That's far too dark, I think.
Oh, it needs an archive warning.
Let's just say I was gonna mention another fruit that was also sexual based.
Ah. We love peaches.
Oh no, Peaches wasn't. Yeah, Peaches. That's what it was.
Oh.
Yeah,
Cucumbers?
Peaches is what that was.
Cucumbers?
No. I mean, sure, yeah, cucumbers.
Eggplants.
We love it. We love it. All of are eggplants a fruit? I don't know that.
I don't know if that's true
I
either.
I don't think
I think they
eggplants
have
are fruit.
seeds.
Do
I'm
they have
sorry,
seeds?
I forgot I'm British. Aubergine.
Eggplants a fruit? Holy shit, they are a fruit.
Hey!
Okay. I didn't. Chat, did you
Banana.
know that eggplants are a fruit?
We're educational with our bad things.
We're
here
very
on the Butter Bunch.
You know,
on
the
this
Butter
channel.
Bunch is nothing if not educational.
We're
That's how
educational with our sexual innuendos.
Yeah, I mean, let's not even. Aiden, you remember that time you learned that hormones aren't stored in the genitalia?
Did I? I don't know.
Yes.
What did that happen?
Yes.
It happened during MAMD.
Oh.
I was present for that one. I was listening.
Were you? Oh, yeah, you were
was.
actually listening to that one.
Because I
Awesome.
was bullying you in my other form.
Wait, you have multiple forms?
Bimley.
Family.
Emily.
Yeah, Bimley.
Emily White Wolf. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's irrelevant, really.
Yeah, Bimley
Just human
Skywolf.
form.
No, Bimley Skycat.
Yeah.
Tiger. I guess Tiger would be the best equivalent.
Yeah, you know.
Sky Tiger. That's for that actually go. Hold on, Sky Tiger. Hold on, I might have cooked a little bit, guys. Sky Tiger.
God, it reminds me of like flying realistic giant tiger from Uncle Grandpa.
My other form, Ethan Sky Tiger was.
Yeah, man. All right.
This was a premeditated attack by a human.
See, that is what I would describe that tangent as.
A human with the strength of a beast, perhaps?
I'll never be your beast of burden. Oh, my back is broken.
What?
It's a hurting. Oh,
Our boss, Leslie.
hey, Artemis. I
Is
didn't
Leslie
realize
high?
you'd pick up. right, voicemail.
He
Probably.
may as well be, I
Okay,
suppose.
just calling to check in. These notes are good. We can definitely work with these. If I had to give you one piece of advice, it would be, to keep doing exactly what you're doing. You know what I mean? Don't veer off, stray, wander from this path. All right? I am so proud of you. And Paul. Hey, your first big
Dang.
story. Pressure's on. Not only to raise the bar from an already successful season of Wayward Guide, but to, uphold APN's high standards of journalistic, integrity as well. All right? I mean, that is equally as important. Heck,
Is it?
more important.
Yeah.
Boy,
yeah.
am I
I would hope
counting
it's
on
more
you.
important.
Huh?
God.
I mean, it's a good thing there's two of you to pick up each other's slack. Ooh, hey, you know what? I just had a great idea. Maybe I could be in the podcast, somewhere, anywhere, sort of a, I don't know, like a mentor figure or something. But I'd have to have a different name. Rebecca, help me move around the letters of my name to create an alias.
I thought Rebecca was gonna be his name for a second there.
Rebecca, call me Rebecca.
Yeah.
It is I.
While we're on the
Rebecca.
subject of journalism,
Who would go by an alias here? Only weird people would go by aliases. Am I right, guys?
I know, right?
Yeah, everyone knows that Aiden's middle and last name is the best.
Obviously.
Everyone knows I am Baker Jessup. That is my full legal name. That is my birth name.
Yeah. Baby Blair.
They called me Baby Baker.
You know, whenever Bacob's in bed, they really you know, when Bacob's in bed, they call him the Judder.
Oh my god.
Big Jacob Jenner in the house on your sheets today for $5.99.
Yeah. They do. Oh, this is my government name. Whatever do you mean? Okay is wonderful. Yes.
I think okay is right.
Yeah. I don't know. I think okay is wrong.
Journalistic integrity, let's go back to the observer effect. By merely doing what we do as journalists, we know we're going to affect the outcome. There's no way around it. So we all strive to be conscious of our observation, acknowledge our biases, and minimize our impact.
But it's impossible to be truly impartial. We're all
She
just
kind
human
of, girl, you already
Yes,
failed
it's
at
a
that. You
standard that we
literally
don't
caused a
always
whole, like, a
Sometimes
massive
you
election
can passively
to happen.
affect things unintentionally, and
Passively?
sometimes
You
Mental
screamed,
blow
you
right past the
screamed,
observer
hey, why
effect
don't you run
altogether
for
and just
office?
start actively
Girl,
affecting
you
things.
screamed
Abandoning
that.
the tenets of journalistic integrity altogether.
Oh.
While Paul was recuperating
admit
from
that in
his
the
eventful
podcast.
night, I headed over to a town council meeting where I would do just that. Even with 2 major deaths in less than 48 hours, there was still an important election the following day, and I wanted to get a closer look at how the council functioned. Not to mention, Truman Hensley would be there, the now unopposed
Truman
candidate for the
Show?
town council seat.
Truman, the
I
president?
feel like I don't know a lot about Truman. Do you happen to have a relevant clip we could listen to that would
there
give
a
us some
show about him?
backstory?
I thought you'd never ask.
When one small town's economy went belly up in the recession,
I thought he was gonna go
Truman
into like a
moved mountains
musical.
to find money in the private sector so they could get back on their feet.
My life was ruined. Then God sent Truman.
She's a politician that actually gets things done. If it weren't illegal, I would have voted for her twice.
15 years of experience in civil service speaks for itself. Think tactfully. Think Truman.
Terrible slogan. Truman was a semi-recent
That pause! That pause! Why is you at the pause at that moment? Why is you at the pause at BP?
He's a recently discovered trans.
That pause, that pause.
Iconic.
Okay, guys, headcanon. Truman is now trans. Confirmed.
Yo. Oh my
We're
god.
making it canon now, okay? You know what? That pause made it canon by accident. Oh well.
I was gonna say that they chose goddamn. I was gonna say that they chose a great background like music for like the ad because you know I swear I hear that on like every election cycle.
Yeah.
Hey, and you know what? Here's the good news for those of you who got annoyed by all of those election ads. You won't have to have another election cycle in your
We
life.
don't need any more elections now in America. It's
Oh,
fine.
true.
Yeah,
True.
we're done with them. We're done with those annoying ads. Now let's get rid of the rest. Yeah. So I mean, hey, there's a silver lining to every dictatorship.
plant to Connor Creek. Fairly private, but we used APN's most up-to-date research tools to do some digging.
He's talking about Google.
Her political aspirations began in a small town northeast of San Diego, where she took several minor local government jobs until ultimately becoming chief of staff to the mayor. We reached out to the mayor's office for comment, but they informed us he has since passed away. In the following decade, she relocated often, never remaining in one town for longer than a year or two after gaining political experience. She then moved to Connor Creek the fall before her candidacy for town council. Based on the voting records we've obtained, her political allegiances have always favored the fossil fuel industry and free market growth.
Those political leanings lined up with what little information we could gather on the history of her family. Her maternal grandfather owned a mining company called Mine Your Own Business. I tracked down permits and contracts, which indicated he was less a large-scale operation and more a glorified prospector. Her father also had a role in the mining industry as a policymaker for the Department of the Interior. While you were with Prism, I called Truman's campaign office to see if I could find out more.
Truman campaign office. Riley Kirkland speaking.
Oh, hi. This is Artemis Shoehorn. I was wondering if I could schedule a time to sit down with Miss Hensley.
Huh. Hold. I've got the news gal on the horn.
Energizers 3-in-1
No,
child.
shut up. No
Energizers 3-in-1
Energizers.
Oh God.
See, you may not have to deal with campaign ads, but you do need to deal with the Energizer ads.
You know what's crazy? You know what ad played immediately after that? I don't know what the fuck this is, but the title just says, "There's a reason Flappy Flaily."
What?
What?
What the fuck
we
does that
love
mean?
Flappy Flaily.
No, Flaily.
Flaily.
That's my favorite politician.
It's Flappy Flaily.
Yeah, you know, I voted for him in the last 27 elections.
Yeah.
Oh, Flappy Flaily is the armed guy from gas stations and car stores.
Oh.
The little dude who does this.
Ooh.
And they'd make a floppy flaily president.
Exactly.
Right?
But I mean, it's really hard to get them on the ballot since they always decide to go a third party, though. You know, it's really hard to get them on the ballot.
Well, I don't think we really need him because our current president already has a floppy flaily, as is well documented.
Oh yeah, you know.
True,
well, don't you mean our forever president? Not our current president, our forever president.
Sure,
I think
sure.
you mean the one true ruler of this total democracy.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think you guys. You mean God?
Oh yeah, our God.
Oh,
I forgot.
yeah. Sorry. All hail the orange one.
Yeah. All hail the orange one. All hail the orange one. All hail the orange one.
Oh God.
Anyways, that's enough floppy flaily from that guy.
Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah. Bartimus. Sure.
Bartimus?
One sec, Missy.
Most politicians insulate themselves from nosy reporters with gatekeepers and busy schedules.
Oh, they
So
gatekeep girl boss and gaslight.
Just like Rose
full of
Marigold.
eager warmth, ready for a candid conversation.
Good evening, Miss Shoehorn. How can I help you?
Oh, hello. Well, I'm here from LA doing a story on the
Connor Creek election. Yes, I know exactly who you are. Funny that a couple of journalists from the big city would find our minor election newsworthy. Not that all our constituents work in the mines, but they could.
You know, I've always yearned for the mines.
And how are the two of you settling in?
Well, not.
You know what I would hate to find in a mine?
What?
Chicken jockey.
God.
I'm going back to the astral plane.
No, you're here forever now.
Don't you mean? Hey, Bacon. Don't you mean the Nether portal?
Yes.
Don't worry, you're gonna need a flint and steel for that.
Hey, and you know you could do to make that flint and steel?
Cry.
Yeah, and you know what? You can cry because you can do it right over here. You know what this is?
I'm scared. What's happening?
Go on, Jacob. Say something.
Guys, stop spoiling my documentary. I haven't seen it yet.
Go on, Jacob.
Crafting table. Table of craft.
Are there crafting tables in the movie?
Yes.
This is a crafting
Minecraft
table.
movie. Funny things.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
God.
I still haven't
Do you
seen
mind if I
Jacob's
ask you a
Walking
few
Wednesday.
questions, Miss Henson?
Of course.
For his review.
Always
I wonder if
thrill
he
to take
liked
some
it.
time and shed light on the truth.
Wait, guys, I've got one.
Please call.
Yeah.
I am Steve.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Oh, I hope you did the little like eyebrow raise.
I did.
Yeah.
Have you seen my profile picture?
I have.
You're always doing the eyebrow raise.
You're
That
right
I
there,
am.
man. We'll see.
Yeah, that's an old picture of me. I've actually turned into a purple twink femme girl. Since that photo. I just couldn't find the other photo.
And Steve.
Call me Truman.
I like that he has an action figure and it's just a guy in a blue shirt.
Okay. So Truman, I was curious about your campaign. You seem to have built quite a following in a relatively short amount of time.
Why, yes, I have. Did you have a question about that?
My question is, what motivated you to run for office in a quaint town like Connor Creek?
Well, I was born in a small town. In my professional life, I've had to move around a lot, but I've always dreamed of having roots in a place just like this one. But I bet you already knew that from, your research. Truthfully, I think it's beautiful how government can function in a small town like this without all the unnecessary bureaucracy. And filling that town council seat with a candidate like me, I promise it will function beautifully.
Yeah.
She went on to explain that Minor Mole had been eyeing the Connor Creek mines for over a year, and that the town council had been in a gridlock approving the permits. Months later, half of the council was still itching to approve them, and the other half citing existing restrictions to prevent it. Minor Mole was no closer to getting their drilling approved than when the debate began. It was a stalemate. So the council decided to hold a special election to fill a long vacant seat, which would cast the deciding vote.
Which explains why Silas was so pissed, opening up an office here only to be cock-blocked by some permits?
Yeah, but I have a feeling he's always like that.
No matter where you stand, the lack
You
of
mean Doug
resolution is
Dimmadome?
clearly aggravating the town. I'm sure everyone will be relieved to outlive this election. And what happened to Ryan
Owner
was certainly tragic. But we must move forward for the sake of Connor Creek.
Truman felt that she was the person to motivate the town to utilize its untapped potential. And she had a point. Her experience and history made her an attractive candidate. Also, unlike Silas, she really seemed to care about the future of Connor Creek. Truman was building on her family's pro-mining legacy and certainly didn't mind leveraging her story to put on a show.
My father and grandfather understood the role industry could play in breathing new
God,
life
these
into a
these are
community.
such political ads that I heard during
They got the right sound. They got good music.
For over 50 years. They're nothing if not trustworthy.
Truman understands that creating a thriving
Shut up.
economy is about more than
Elections are a
just the
thing of the
immediate results.
past. Go
It's about creating a
away.
better life for our children, and their children, and their children, and their children.
Enterprise
well,
brings more than wealth to a
election
community.
is like
It
an
makes a
old
community
thing we
a
used to
family.
do where like we
As your
vote
new
someone
town
into
council
power
member, I
every
promise
like
to pass the motion
few
to begin
years.
drilling. Because as a
But
family, we'll
Aizen,
never
why would
settle
we
for
need to
just
vote
the
someone
silver.
into power when we have the one true orange god?
You're right, and that's what I think we all over time realized, that we don't need them anymore. And we all like we have someone who could fill them forever.
Yeah.
Well, I will include that in my one true mighty god class homework.
Okay.
Because as a family, we'll never settle for just the silver beneath our feet. Let's dig deeper. Let's reach higher.
It'll be an agriculture 101.
Let's move forward together.
This ad is paid for by Truman for Connor Creek.
Truman for Connor Creek. TFCC. Remember that note I found on Silas's desk about the wire? Minor Mole seemed to be funding the Truman campaign to sway the vote in their favor. Would following the money shed more light on the recent murders?
I mean, it would make sense. Truman and Minor Mole share a similar goal. Expand mining in Connor Creek. And then world domination.
You're joking. But
I
after talking with these people, it
love how
seemed
they're
foolish to doubt their
accusing this
ambition,
guy of
especially after
being
making the
involved in
connection
murder
between Minor Mole
on
and
a
Truman.
podcast. Like,
My initial
girl, you're gonna get
interview with Miss
sued.
Hensley wasn't
You're gonna
fair.
get
I
sued.
knew I needed
You're gonna
time
get
if I
sued
wanted
for
to get
this.
answers. Which brings
hey,
us
maybe
back
he'll
to my little
Silas
disaster
just
at the town council meeting.
The defamation letter is quaking.
What?
Jacob, what'd you say?
The defamation letter is quaking.
Oh,
My
yeah.
mythical cat is causing ruckus in the astral plane.
I gotta say, man, you are so much quieter than the video for some reason.
Should
And
I
it's
speak
only you.
louder?
Or get closer to the mic.
Bake up, start screaming. I want to hear Bake Up scream.
I have my legendary VA settings on, so I think that might.
Oh, is that what you do when you record
better?
all those lines for me?
I don't know. Let's see.
Yes.
There were only a couple
I
items
just
of
turned the
business
mic
that
volume
day,
up.
and it became quickly
That is
apparent
much
that
better,
the meeting
yeah.
was called as a final campaign push for Truman. Then Madison showed up. As Truman addressed the small gathering, she acted like she had already won the election.
I mean, she essentially had. She was running unopposed now that Ryan was, well,
murdered.
You know.
I could tell Madison was really struggling to hold.
Oh, that reminds me of the bit in Who Killed Markiplier, where every time you said murder, thunder struck.
God. Oh, that bit would be so good in the show. You know what?
This is literally just like a Markiplier bit. I don't know how this should have. Maybe they just stole this from Mark's computer.
Maybe.
Mark
I don't
just
know.
Wrote the whole thing. Ghostwriter.
Yeah. You know, I want to include a bit like that in like Sword in My Law, and I'll suggest to Jacob later. Be like, hey Jacob, every time they say a certain word, random thunder should be heard.
Well, in Who Killed Markiplier, did you not watch Who Killed Markiplier?
No, I have not seen that yet.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, it was a joke, but like there was an actual lore reason for it.
Hold it together. I saw the color draining from her face as Truman's speech grew more and more impassioned. And that's when
The
I had
Markiplier
my
multiverse as a whole is pretty great.
in a completely unprofessional move, which
Highly
I'm
recommend
embarrassed to
going
admit
down
and
the rabbit
tried
hole.
very hard to cut from this podcast. I stood up and nominated Madison to run in her brother's stead for the vacant town council seat.
Insane. And absolutely uncuttable. Why'd you do it?
I don't know what came over me. It just seemed completely unfair that Truman wasn't facing any opposition when half the town still supported Ryan's platform. And after I connected the dots between her and the funds from Minor Mole, I just thought the other side could use a little nudge to level the playing field.
You know, that's what I love about you, Artie. Your extraordinary sense of journalistic integrity can still be overtaken by your even more extraordinary sense of justice. How'd she respond?
Madison agreed to run, the meeting ended, and just like that, the Reynolds campaign was resurrected. I managed to catch Truman on the way out, but she was not pleased to see me. Excuse me, Truman, I just wanted to—
A line has been crossed. I will not be so eager to assist you in the future.
Are you receiving campaign funds from Silas Torson?
Let me give you a little bit of advice. You're an outsider here, playing with our lives like it's some kind of game, but your actions have genuine consequences for my constituents. After I win tomorrow, there will be no more story. So you and your brother are welcome to leave Connor Creek before you disrupt our peaceful little town any further.
Well, what did you expect? I mean, she had a clean shot at the council and you put someone in her way.
If Minor Mole was throwing around that much money and using Truman as a proxy, how deep did their control of the town run?
Well, Ryan did say his findings were just the tip of the iceberg.
Despite our best intentions, our observation of Connor Creek was making the town more dangerous with each passing hour.
The observer effect was in our rear view. There was no going back. To echo Truman,
we must move forward for the sake of Connor Creek.
Next time on Wayward Guy.
Okay, no, next time. We're about to watch next episode.
To complete your voter registration cards.
For marital status.
What are you doing? Baby, don't play that.
Actively fucking with you.
Putting current status.
Baby! I will destroy you! Fake up attack!
Yeah, you'll destroy me, will you? Will you? Because I get the feeling.
The turns have tabled.
Because I get the feeling when I bring you back, like I can, you're gonna be screaming a little.
Actually, no.
I need you to bend to my will real quick.
No, I'm not. Why?
Thank you.
What? That's not me screaming. You've heard me scream. Anyways, okay. We gotta change our view though, so we can look at the video. We're 40 minutes in.
Oh, shut up.
I will bite everybody's kneecaps.
The Silverado?
Whoa.
You're gonna bite the Silverado?
No, the kneecaps. What's a Silverado? Is that a car?
It's the ad that you just heard, yes.
Oh, well, I don't know. You act like I know what cars are. I don't know what cars are.
You're in America. It's the only way to travel.
Yeah, but I don't know specifics about cars. All I know is cars go zoom, zoom, and some big, some small. Zoom, zoom.
POV, you ask a 5-year-old to describe a car.
Listen, cars go yeah.
Why is the car thrusting?
Yeah, I was about to say POV. You just asked a middle schooler to tell you what they learned in sex ed.
Penis goes vroom vroom.
Some big, some big, some small.
Mine big. It's a whole
3.5 inches.
Mommy, can I measure this?
God.
Yeah. Come to the second floor bathroom at lunchtime.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's so dark. What the fuck?
Oh, by the way, Bake Up, you may not know this, but last episode ended with I forget her name, ending seeing two silhouettes of like two like werewolves or like wolf/bear people looking like they're busting it down.
I think Bake Up has enough intelligence to get context clues, man.
Yeah, but that's what happened at the for the cliffhanger last episode.
Okay, man.
Werewolves.
Yeah, werewolves are doing the sex.
What have you better own up to this? Connor, I'm telling you, it wasn't us. You're all my kin. I trust you with my life, but this calls for being set up. How? By whom? The outsiders have been awfully nosy. Well, then what's to be done? I'll keep an eye on the boy. And the girl.
Oh. Don't get a text now. Don't get a text now. Don't get a text now.
Find them.
Run. Oh, it is a werewolf.
Really?
I thought it was just a furry. I'm gonna be honest, I thought it was just people in fursuits getting it down.
That's a casual child in 2025.
Oh god, she did the horror movie trip thing.
Oh, sweet kitties! That is a big dog. Oh god, not you. Please! Put your paws up! Oh shit, not you either!
Is it dead?
No.
Wait, did she get shot?
She's dead though.
She get shot.
You know, the brother in the intro kind of resembles Keemstar.
Let's get right into the news. Oh, minecart.
And that's the sheriff, y'all. Yeah, I was about to say, for someone who fuck this language.
What?
Leslie. Hello?
Artemis.
Words
how
are
you?
hard.
Also that you were attacked last night.
Yeah. Thanks, Leslie. I'm fine.
Leslie is cute.
You know I love you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what?
What?
Like a dad.
Okay, I was about to be like, what are you? Wait,
Sure,
what?
Leslie.
Wayward guide notes that you've been sending in recapping the trip have been incredible. There's some damn good stuff in there.
Cool.
Well, things have just taken a major turn in the story.
Turns are good. We like turns. How's
Yeah,
Ryan?
I almost got mauled by a werewolf.
Reynolds? He's dead.
Damn fine actor.
Not that Ryan Reynolds. Oh God. Oh yeah, the person who initially put this on this case was named Ryan Reynolds, but not that Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, different Ryan Reynolds, but
Oh, Bake Up. You watched The Flash, right? Bake Up. Have you seen the CW show The Flash?
Not the show.
Because Cisco Ramon's in it. I don't know if you remember that, but Cisco Ramon is the actor. Actually has a name. I just call him Cisco.
He literally
I just call him Cisco.
Why
because
are you
that's all I know.
what the fuck are you doing? He literally just said no, and you're like, oh, I don't know if you remember. No, obviously he doesn't remember. He didn't watch it.
Listen, I'm just saying, Cisco Ramon's in this.
None of that doesn't mean anything.
It does mean something. He's a drunk doctor.
So, yeah, he's a drunk doctor, not Cisco.
But he's Cisco in my heart.
Right, but Bake Up doesn't... That did not in Bake Up's heart.
The eggs, extra.
Does Bake Up have a heart?
It's disrespectful to ask a cook to make a
It's
meal.
made of
that doesn't
stars
involve
and galaxies and sunshine and rainbows and evilness.
Carlos Gomez.
They should write that on my tombstone.
Yeah, exactly, Cisco.
And cocaine.
Kill me.
Oh, I need to show you my slushie. You know what? I might... Is there a way to present it to the whole... Yes. Okay. You know what? I'll show it at the end of this. Because I'm quite proud of it.
Oh, hey, Artie, you're up. Hey, so werewolves, huh?
Not now, Paul. Desmond, can I get a coffee? Oh, Gwen, if Paul's not eating, I'll take it.
Only if I can pair it with toasted brioche and fig jam.
Whatever.
Sure.
I heard someone went looking for adventure last night.
Something like that.
Yeah, and I almost got mauled to death.
I found myself in a bad situation.
By a
Looks
wolf
like we all
man.
might be in a bad situation now. And our first act this morning was to call a town council vote allowing Miner Mole to extract silver ore from the mines.
Did it pass?
By one vote. Looks like all her talk of compromise was a crock of hooey.
Where do you stand on all this, Desmond?
Well, people come here looking to unload. So I spend a lot more time listening than I do talking.
The barkeep's dilemma.
I've been in this town for quite a few years, and I've seen faces of every kind. I mean, people are complicated. You spend your time trying to understand them, but there's no point. It's bad news one day, good news the next. But it doesn't really change things in the grand scheme. You know what I mean?
Apathy is everyone's enemy, Desmond.
How? Did you read that in a fortune cookie?
Actually, I think I follow an inspirational quotes Twitter account. It's like a tiny sentence journal.
Tiny sentence journal. Okay. Artie, doesn't really matter to me. I try to stay out of it. I gave up control a long time ago.
Oh, he's a werewolf.
I'll drink to that. That's how it goes. Same shit, different day. Bada bing, bada boom. Wake up.
Oh God!
Another
Stop
day
day drinking. It's the morning. God.
He's German.
Cisco, please stop drinking.
It's like I'm always telling you.
Day drinking isn't actually
Rule of threes,
uncommon.
baby.
It's just not like a general part of American
Rule of
culture.
threes. It all comes in threes. Deaths, tiny pigs, and
I recognize the actor, but I thought he was from Spider-Man.
That was Ned.
Yeah, you're thinking
That's
of
Ned. Wrong actor. Well, that's who Ned plays. He plays a Democrat actor plays Ned in there.
What?
What happened?
I will say that was a really well acted scene, by the way. I didn't want to say much, but like that was great.
Yes.
That was interesting. Also, she seems to be getting like genuinely invested in the politics of this town. I wonder what her conclusion will end up being, you know? Because we don't have much left.
Probably not dying though, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, but like she
Becomes
has
mayor.
like she has to have an emotional arc now in relation to the politics. So
yeah.
I just wonder what her and she was asking, oh, where do you stand on this? And they're making a big point about like the division. So I wonder.
Civil War.
I could maybe I don't know.
Maybe she moves to town and takes over as the new mayor or something, or like or on the council or something.
It is curious. We still need to see her brother. Like they're gearing up for like the brother to be a werewolf. I wonder how that'll affect their relationship.
Although I kind of feel like the sister feels more like the main protagonist, and like the brother's like a major protagonist, but not the main one, because I feel like she gets more of the stuff to do most episodes.
I guess.
Especially this episode, like the brother only had like a minor appearance in the beginning, or not beginning, like had a brief scene, and that's really all we get from him, and it's not even that substantial of a scene.
Yeah, I think.
And last episode we didn't get too much for him besides like the dream sequence and him recovering. Like that's all we really got for him last episode.
Yeah, I think part of it is the flaw with the runtime, because you have the podcast, which is a good like 20 minutes, but then you have the visual episodes, and it's like 7. And so it's like,
I mean, if they were to put 3 to 2 minutes on each episode, I think that would help it out a lot. Like even just adding a minute to each episode probably would have helped at least develop things a bit more.
Yeah, no. I assume that what we're seeing is still the important stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe they can't last a minute.
A good friend and a worthy specimen. I must admit I am.
Their stamina's too low.
Body.
Yeah.
Coping through art.
The end is upon us. Save yourselves.
Go to church?
Save the egg! Save the egg!
Show the werewolf we're not weak. Kill the beast they gotta preach.
Discounts available with the code WOLFEGG!
What? This escalated quickly.
Civil War, I'm telling you.
You say, oh my god, I just realized that. Oh my god, wait a second. Haha. Now I know what they're gearing up to do. I get it.
I think from context clues, I have an idea.
Here, you have this scene. Tell me who walks in.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Werewolf himself.
Or potential werewolf. He was attacked by a werewolf.
He's very clearly
With that much hair, he's gonna be a werewolf.
He's always had that much hair. He's always had that much hair.
He kind of had a weird like break in like his understanding of reality after he got attacked. So he's definitely altering in some way. I wonder. So I guess they're setting up the idea of like the town is gonna hunt after her brother.
So you didn't hear it from us?
Seeing as we are not the kind to spread gossip.
But it seems there is a pack of werewolves trying to destroy us all.
Juicy, right?
What? Okay. I really wish these episodes were longer though, because I wanted more of that episode.
I don't know. I thought it was a satisfying ending.
I mean, it was a satisfying ending, but I just wish there was more going into that because it feels like episode 5 and episode 4, if they were mushed together, would work really good as like a 15-minute episode rather than these two being 2 separate episodes of a 10-episode series. Because then it's like it feels like this episode has a few ideas, but it doesn't develop the point as much as it could.
I don't know about that. It developed the point.
Okay, let me just say, it gets a single point across when it should be at least trying to get 2 to 3 points across.
That's not a hard rule though. That's just
because
up to personal bias.
When you have like a limited time and limited episodes, you can't snail pace it always. Okay, going back to I talked about Cisco Ramon the Flash. Some of the problem in the later seasons was instead of having like a full 20 episode villain storyline with a single main villain, it was divided into 2 half a season. But the showrunner was kind of stupid during this time period and was like, we only need like 4 episodes for this villain arc, for this like villain story arc. And within those said 4 episodes, half of the runtime of each of those episodes was dedicated to side characters, filler, random storylines, nothing that contributes to the main villain or main protagonist. Just other less things. So yeah, you have like maybe like roughly like 2.5 hours to develop this villain, their dynamic with the main protagonist, their plan, their story, their development. You have about like 2.5 hours to do that. But you only actually end up developing them for about maybe an hour total runtime because you spend so much time wasting your time on other stuff. So it's like that. But
it's not like that even in the slightest.
Because like this episode only got the 1 point across, which being the paranormal werewolves, which I kind of wish this episode did one more thing to develop the plot forward, because now we only have 5 more episodes left.
That's 5 episodes, though.
Yeah, but this episode, I feel like could have at least did 1 or 2 more character beat things. Like, for example, what if this episode actually had the election in it? And the election ended with the decree.
Oh, I would hate that.
Because, like, I think the election got skipped over with that opening scene. Like, the election kind of just got skipped over.
No, I don't know. I think that would be fucking up the pace.
Because didn't the election just get skipped over with that scene where they talked about, oh yeah, the election, she declared to have mining start.
I mean, I guess, but like that's
so. I'm pretty sure that means we skipped over the whole election plot point. Therefore,
yeah, but it wasn't really about the election.
Yeah, but a major part of the ending of last episode was the election, or a major latter half of the episode was all about the election and like her getting involved and making enemies and stuff, and like that was a major aspect of the last episode.
But the point wasn't the election, though.
What was the point then?
It was establishing the dynamics of the city, the general moral compasses of the people within it, the people in power. It was establishing biases, and it was setting up, as you even said, enemies and such. It was explaining some of the moral characteristics of Artemis herself. The actual vote didn't matter.
It kind of did matter though, because at least having a episode where you emphasize the election, or like having that be a scene, an election scene, at the very least, again would thing. And also that was a major point, because like the whole point was she didn't okay, so what's her name? The sister. Basically they revived the campaign. But if skipping over the election, what's the point of reviving the campaign if we're just going to skip over it immediately?
I just said what the point was.
No.
Wasn't Truman running unopposed anyway? Well,
no, she was running unopposed, and then she got opposed.
Yes, and she was only opposed because Artemis stepped in, which is showing the character of Artemis, not the election.
Yeah, but but still, then you establish that she is not running unopposed now. Therefore, you have to have the election, because that's setting up something and not paying it off.
But you don't have to, because it's not about the election. This isn't a political intrigue.
It kind of is. What do you mean it's political intrigue? It is political intrigue.
It has politics, but it's just a general mystery. It's not a
It's a mystery with politics massively involved.
Yes, but that doesn't make it a
minor mole has.
I mean, okay, but if you have a mystery and someone dies, like in the background, does that make it a murder mystery?
I mean, there is a mystery around the murder, but there is also around that murder. There's also
no. I never said it. I never said it was about the murder. I said it's a mystery and someone dies.
Okay, yeah, but it's also a political mystery, because Minor Mole is paying a candidate who's super pro mining.
Right, but a political mystery isn't what a political intrigue is.
Yeah, but there are politics involved in this, BB. Politics are a massive cornerstone of the story, as much.
No one said it wasn't. I'm saying it's not a political intrigue.
And
I fear Aiden and BB are doing the thing where BB's taking it metaphorical, Aiden's taking it literal.
BB takes everything.
Which is why you're arguing.
But
like, you take everything literal. You can't argue that.
It's not about taking it metaphorically. It's just looking and just in like dissecting the meat. It's just called media literacy.
Yeah, but you're also missing out on the. But it's also storytelling. Okay.
Yeah, I know what I'm describing is storytelling, though.
BB. Okay, let's give episode Fallen Angels. Okay. Let's say let's say in episode 4 Fallen Angels, I established something's weird to Helen. You know what?
Helen?
Something's weird to Helen. Something's going on with Helen. We don't know. Yeah. Don't worry. Over episode 5, though, we're just gonna ignore that, and we're not gonna talk about Helen. Helen's gonna become irrelevant. She's gonna be a background character. She's in the corner. We're just gonna ignore her now for the rest of the show. Would that be acceptable?
It's giving Carrie.
Would that be?
Yeah, I was about to say actually. I don't hate that too much. Because
but like I mean, when I deliberately use a major part of a previous episode to establish a major plot point, and then I immediately skip over it in the next episode, never to potentially address it again.
But you don't have to do it immediately. Why do you assume it has to be done in the next episode?
Because if the election happened off screen, the election just kind of.
But the point wasn't the election. That's not why it was included in the story. It didn't matter what the vote was. It was
Using the Helen thing was a bad thing, because if you establish a plot where Helen's acting funky and then do it in the next episode, that's bad writing. I know what you're talking about. You just said it wrong.
Yeah. Okay. But I'm saying, if the character's choice and like the character's impact is partially causing her to not run unimposed, therefore a proper election has to happen the next day. Therefore, you have to, at the very least, have an election scene the next day or next episode in this case, because we spent a major portion of a previous episode emphasizing that election is going to happen, because then you have setup with no payoff.
But we did get payoff.
Yeah, that show don't tell. Oh yeah, by the way, the election happened. She won. She's the thing. That's just show don't tell, and that's
right
good.
Because that's right, because they don't have to show the election, because the point isn't the election.
The point is the election because she ran.
No, it's not. The votes don't matter in relation to the grand scheme of the story. The person won. It was always going to be that way. It was obvious since the beginning because she had just shown up, so that way she was unopposed. It wasn't about who was going to win. It was about showing the characters and their motives and the way the world operates, not who's voting for who.
But you also have to pre-establish when there's an event. You can't just exposition events away. You can't just exposition events away. That's
but
nuts.
You can if it doesn't serve the story.
You know what? Just saying. If my friend Emily, if in her show she just expositions away people's deaths, being like, "Oh yeah, I heard Tommy died." Oh well, would that not be bad, right? No wait, you have to set up something bad happened to Tommy. No wait, I don't know. God. Okay, look,
I fear you're mischaracterizing Emily's final break.
Yeah,
I was also about to say murder's a big part of it. So yes, if they just said that someone died in the background,
the politics are a big part of it too.
No, but what I'm saying is that because no, right, but the election wasn't though. The votes don't matter.
Yes, it was. The mining company is buying. Has pretty much bought a candidate and manipulating the election so they win. Therefore, the election by proxy is a major plot point.
No, the mining company is the plot point.
No, the mining company is a player in the race, and they are causing the plot point.
No, the mining company, because the mining as a whole is the plot point. That's what this entire series has been talking about when it's not going into the supernatural shit. It's all about it's about the mine.
But seriously though,
I am being serious.
Skipping over the election isn't good writing if you write it over with exposition. That's not good writing. At least showing an election scene, or I don't know.
But if you did the election scene, it would just be shoehorned in. It doesn't serve the story.
It does serve the story because it's paying off something that was set up at the end of the last episode.
But that wasn't the point. It wasn't trying to pay off that election, though. It was trying to pay off the characters.
Yeah, it helps the characters, but also establishes a plot point. Plot points and character. A character causes a plot point. You still have to pay it off, baby. You can't just write things off with exposition.
Yes, you can.
Carrie is quaking.
Well, no, Carrie doesn't get right off of exposition because we actually see her die.
I wouldn't say that.
After meeting her for 2 seconds.
Well,
it should also be noted that
Carrie's just underdeveloped.
It's not that she's underdeveloped. It's because the source material is a epistolary novel, which means it's all written from the perspective of it all already happening after the fact. So it's made up of interviews and newspaper clippings and such.
Yeah, but the videos aren't written like the actual videos, like the non-podcast videos aren't written like that. The videos,
right? But we're not. Well, we were talking about Carrie.
Carrie is from Fallen Angels.
Oh, I'm thinking of like
We're referencing something wholly different.
Oh, I was thinking of Carrie.
No. But
you clearly can introduce a thing and wave it off.
Yeah, but I introduced Carrie in the same episode where she dies.
Right, but what purpose did Carrie serve to the story apart from, oh no, big sad, she's dead? The agony for one character.
Yeah, no, but like in this case, that'd be me briefly introducing Carrie in a single scene as a major component character at the end of a previous of episode 5, and then in episode 6. In episode 6, I offhandedly mention, "Oh yeah, Carrie died, so everyone can escape."
Here's the thing.
Exposition. That would be the exact thing.
No, but in a world where they did do this election thing, and by the way, if they did it, they better not do it as one scene. That's actually fucking stupid. But like, if they actually did an election arc,
politics.
Then no, they didn't.
The first half of this season is itself an election mini arc.
But it's not about the election. It's not. Anyways, whatever. If they actually did the election and all that, once it was over, they need to do one of two things. One, they either do a completely different trajectory because they've disrupted the flow, or B, they go back to this. So then it just feels like the last few episodes were filler, because what the fuck did they matter? The person won anyways. What was already the stakes is still the stakes.
Okay, so I think you are, I guess, not fully grasping season. Okay, here's the here's a season.
Here?
No, here's the television. Here's the idea of a seasonal television. Something can serve multiple purposes. There can be an election in a show that ends up serving several different characters. That happens over the course of multiple things. But also keep in mind, in this show, we have werewolves. We have the murder. We have like 10 other plot points. So yes, if the election was the only plot point for a few episodes, it would feel like filler. But if the election is just a major component of the overall story, you know, ending a major component naturally during a season works when you're doing serialized television over the course of multiple episodes.
I think that's how.
I don't think this election was. How major is the election if the results were always going to be the same? She was always going to win. How major was this election?
Yeah, the stakes were established before it happened. But also...
The stakes are pretty big. Ryan, the guy who initially got them involved in the case, was the one running against her in the first place. And at the end of the first episode, he got murdered. And then I think like episode 2 and 3, they found out about this. Found out that he was running for office, and like found out about what he's been up to, and like they learned about Minor Mole, and they learned about Minor Mole's connection to the person running in episode 4, and in episode 4 they caused she ended up causing the person to no longer be running unopposed, because she now has an opponent, because the sister of the brother who got murdered is now running in his place. So it is a major plot point from a narrative flow. Yes, it is very major.
Sure, but it's also not the point.
It is the point. The point of the election is she going to win the election? At least a major point.
Right, but we're not talking about the point of the election, because the election is not the point.
But the point is, you don't want her to win the election because she's a pawn of the mining industry. Therefore,
yeah, but it was obvious that it was going to happen anyways. That was already
It
set
doesn't
up.
matter how obvious a plot point is, BB. You could make a character's death extremely obvious that it's going to happen, but that doesn't change. But if you make
that's bad writing.
But if you make the death unemotional, if you make the death unemotional and you don't feel any emotions towards said death, then you don't, then you end up kind of hurting said death. Like, as long...
Oh, wow. Who's done that one before?
I have. Okay, listen. But anyway...
Okay, but say if I was just gonna... Not Emily. Whatever.
Yes,
Emily, yes.
Emily, that person who's not here.
Yeah, Ethan, what was it? White Tiger?
Ethan White Tiger,
Sky Tiger.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've forgotten what I was going to say.
Ethan Sky Tiger, that's right.
Yeah, if he was making a show called Final Break, and
starting repair, you mean?
Oh yeah, obviously,
Yeah.
And if people just started coming alive, I don't even remember what I was going to say.
That moment when Final Break becomes a zombie apocalypse show.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's season 2.
Season 2, all the
beginning
characters,
rise.
All the characters who died in season 1 end up coming back as zombies, and it's up to the main protagonist who survived from the previous season to kill the zombies.
Final Break, season 2, plot armor.
God, but no, seriously though.
Sure.
But like but if we don't see the election, and the election already happened, the election has been emphasized to a point where you can't offhandedly say it. And when you emphasize something too much, you can't make it off screen. When it's when it's at least a notable plot point, extremely notable to a point where it's like, you can't remove, like, for example, you can't remove the election from the story as a whole. You can't just be like, oh, the election doesn't exist, because that ends up completely changing the story, or like changing aspects, major aspects of the story.
You can remove most of it. You just have to make sure that
you would have no. But if you so when you say you're going to remove something from a story, you can't adjust things at all. If you remove things, then who is minor role given money to? If they're not given to election, that if Ryan and also a major reason why their story got approved to go to the podcast was because of political intrigue. Well, now political intrigue is removed because there's no election involved. And that also removes potential motive of Ryan's murder. And that also removes a major character moment from her intervening in an election. And that also potentially removes a major reason of why that girl is running or in the town, potentially because she's running for office.
It doesn't remove any of that, though.
But it does. If you remove the election as a concept
I
from
didn't
the
say
story,
that. I said you can remove most of it. To which you said that we can't adjust it. Actually, we can. That's the point of redraft. That's the point of multiple drafts. If you get rid of almost all of the election, the only thing you really need at this point to keep everything intact, what we got in this episode where they say, hey, this person won.
Yeah, but the election has been emphasized and it's been connected to so much of the storyline that you would have to, again, redraft. And I'm saying when someone says the term, if you take this out, yeah, by that logic, you could redraft anything. If you take this out of the Flash, if you take this character out of the Flash, you just have to redraft it and then it will be fine. No, if you take this out as a term and phrase,
a redraft. I'm describing you cut a couple lines and scenes, and that's it. Just make sure you show that she won on the newspaper, like we got here, and the job is done.
You also cut the plot point of the brother being potentially murdered because of
you
politics.
don't, because everything else is still there.
Yeah, because there is no election.
I didn't say the election was missing. I said
no. I said if you take out the election as a concept.
Right, and what I'm saying is you don't have to do that because the election was not the point. It doesn't matter whether it's there or not.
The election does matter, though. It does.
But it doesn't. But the votes don't. It doesn't matter if the election is present as a big thing or not. It can be a background thing as long as you show that she still won.
Was the election a background thing?
Yes.
No, it wasn't.
In the episode, yes. In the podcast, it doesn't seem to be.
No. In previous episodes, in previous episodes, it wasn't a background thing. Don't let BB fool you. It wasn't a background thing in the previous episodes, Bacub. I can guarantee you, it's not a background thing.
If you can remove it and nothing changes, it's not the front and center.
Yeah, and
it doesn't matter.
If you remove it, things change.
But they don't.
Okay, so why was he murdered? No election involved.
Because of but stop removing the election, though.
No, but you say
no one's doing that except for you. What I'm saying is you can remove every scene. You can remove every scene with the election.
Okay,
every scene. What you're saying is the outcome wouldn't have changed either way. So if you did remove the election out of visual thing and were mentioning it in the background, it wouldn't necessarily. If you cut a few things out, the events aren't going to change. She's still going to get voted in.
Okay, but BB was missing it. BB wasn't using if you cut out every election scene, BB was saying if you cut out the election. No,
BB never said you.
Obvious.
You have to say
you said cut out the election.
I'm saying cutting out the election as a concept from a story.
But we aren't. You are. No one else is saying that.
That's why I'm saying it's important. I'm saying the election is so important. You can't cut it out in any way, or you have to change parts of the story. Therefore, you have to properly end the election as an arc. You have to end it with something more than exposition.
It wasn't an arc. It wasn't the front and center. It was the background element. It was the backdrop.
It wasn't a background if
that actually mattered.
If there was 2 to 3 scenes of it and it got verbally confirmed, it got verbally mentioned in 2 to 3 other times in scenes not emphasizing the election, it's not a background element. Because
that is a background element.
No,
if you mention it in 2 or 3 scenes and talk about it once, that's a background element.
No,
think about the amount of scenes.
no,
If you have 5 scenes per episode, and you take 2 episodes, if there's 2 scenes that mention it in one background element, that's a background element. You can't say
Right,
that.
and
That's,
also,
you're not talking about it enough.
Right, and also I don't know why you keep replacing the word background with important. Being background does not make it unimportant. It means it's not front and center.
But it is important. It's important.
I know that. I'm not saying it's unimportant. It is, but
And
it's not. But it's the
important
background as well.
it's important you actually end it eventually with a proper scene and not just.
But we don't need
not
that.
just a mention.
That's the scene, the boss scene. Clearly it ends.
Yeah, but like,
some point.
we have characters involved. We should have had a scene where either we were announcing the vote winners, which would be a more fulfilling scene where we actually get to see her on stage, have an acceptance speech or something. I don't know, because like again, there should be more to it than just offhanded mentions. Because when you dedicate. Okay, last episode was what? Last episode was like 8 minutes. We dedicated about 4 minutes to them talking about how she's running unopposed and how she is going to be and that means since she's running unopposed, that means she's just going to get position on the on the town council. So we spend roughly, and then we have our main protagonist mess that up by getting the sister to run. Then we have a scene later in the bar where the sheriff talks about how she's so excited to run and how she's gonna beat her.
Yep.
You know? And then so we already have dedicated at the very least 5 minutes of total screen time. Keep in mind, episodes being 7 minutes. This episode was 7 minutes long. We have dedicated roughly about the same length of this episode to that single plot point last episode.
Yeah, notice how on almost every example you said, it was people mentioning it.
No, she was in the town hall, and yeah,
I
they're
said
verbal.
almost.
Yeah.
I specified that for a reason.
But like, it was a major talking point. It was a major emphasis.
But that's the thing. It was a major talking point.
If it's talking, it's background.
It wasn't background. That's like someone talking about their trauma and their whole character point being their trauma. It's not. Their trauma isn't a talking point. Their trauma is a plot point.
Okay,
it's a
but
plot
no.
point.
Okay, no. Okay, but like, okay.
Trauma. That's background information.
Right. Okay, but here's
I
the
was
thing,
weak
right?
as a kid.
But like, okay, for instance, in Game of Thrones, for instance. You have constant mentions of the Seven and the Drowned God and the Burning God and whatever, right? They don't really show up much. They're always there until around the end where they need it as like the Deus Ex Machina and like the visions and shit. But like, it's not there because of the God. The God doesn't. You didn't need it. It's a means to an end.
That's just. And again, this was a major plot point. No,
it wasn't.
Okay, in Fallen Angels, eventually I want to have an election arc in the human world for some reason. There's a one I forget. I'm not gonna spoil why, but one of the human characters wants to run for office, and I dedicate a good handful of scenes to that. Imagine offhanded I mention, oh yeah, I won the election.
That would depend, right, but that would depend entirely on how you deliver it. If you deliver it like this, that's fine.
But like, it's not as satisfying because I wanted to.
It's not as satisfying depending on what you include. With the way that Wayward Guide has interacted with it, it's fine.
And like, okay, here's an easy minor change that if they were gonna skip over the election. Here's an easy minor change that literally changes nothing about the overall story and nothing about the characterization, but doesn't skip over the election on the basis of, okay, so instead when she suggests, hey, why doesn't the sheriff run for the town council? The sheriff says yeah, but then ends up going actually no, and then ends up not doing it even though she wanted to. That way, A, she makes an enemy. B, we get to see her character, and then C, the election could easily happen off screen. There, it covers it a lot easier because now there doesn't have to necessarily be election because she's running unopposed again.
That's fine, but like there didn't have to
But
be
now,
one in the first
but
place.
when you establish when a major turning part in the story is she's running unopposed now, but then it shifts to she's running opposed, you have to have an election on screen.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do. That's just writing 101. You can't just show, don't tell. It just ends up coming off lame.
Tell, don't show, first of all.
Yeah, actually, the show don't tell is actually writing 101.
Tell, don't show. Tell, don't show. You can't just be like, oh yeah, this happened. Okay, and
You can depending on how you can though.
I feel with if you
I know we're going in loops. I already thought in
it's
my
a
head.
spiral.
Don't know what's happening, honestly.
Yeah. No,
I'm just arguing for the sake of arguing.
We are, but I think I don't know, maybe someone is enjoying it. So I
don't know why I'm arguing. Okay, hear me out. Hear me out. Wait, I remembered what I wanted to say about Emily's series, Final Break.
Oh, hey.
Background elements can still be important. If Emily had bloody Jade or whatever offhandedly mention that her parents were pharmacists, and oh look, someone just died by poison. Like, screw it, the teachers. Like, they just died by poison, and then 2 episodes later, oh yeah. But she talks about her pharmacist parents, and what if that's a major thing? Like, I know what I mean.
That would be really good. That would actually be really good.
But background information can be extremely important. Such as a background election can be important without still being like the forefront of a plot.
But when the election ends up becoming a forefront, even just for an episode, it was for the second half of the previous episode.
So
the previous episode. Yeah, because the second half had A plot and B plot. The A plot being the sister at the town hall meeting, and the B plot being the brother losing his mind due to the potential werewolf attack.
Right, but if
A plot, B plot.
But what I'm saying though is if you have 5 episodes, and the only example you can really say where like it's right there in your face, it is the big thing, is half of a episode out of 5 episodes.
And it was a major thing in episode 2, or at least a major stated thing and major plot. It was a major detail that we saw posters of.
Detail.
But it was
stated. World building.
It was heavily stated. It was heavily
background. But it's background.
Everything background by that logic.
No, because if you state it, that's background information. If you're watching it in front of you, that's not background, that's foreground. If someone goes, say that, okay, so the teachers are dead, episode 1, and then in the second episode, someone states, oh yeah, the teachers are dead, is that the forefront of that plot? No, that's background information from the first episode. The first plot. And then they start crying.
Actually, episode 2, actually, by that logic, episode 2, it is a major detail that the teachers are dead. But instead of having the teachers die, it was more or less focusing on the idea of everyone's reaction to the characters dying. Therefore, it is a major plot point.
It's stated in the middle of a massive argument. Oh yeah, the teachers they're screaming at each other. Oh yeah, the teachers are dead. We're all screwed. You don't know that. Is the teachers being dead the front point of that whole scene?
Well, they are dead, though, apparently.
They are dead, but is it the major plot point of that scene? Or would it not be the entire scene of them arguing?
Not major plot point of the scene, but it is a major important detail.
Of the scene.
Right, but see, now you're getting it,
detail.
But now you're getting it, though. It's an important detail, not an important plot point.
But it is a plot point. Her winning the election has...
You literally just said...
It's a detail.
A detail can still be important.
And also, this is something I do in my narratives a lot, where we're early on in a season, a serialized season, I'll sew in a minor detail that that in a future episode or future things ends up being the main point of that episode or major turning point in the story.
And that's fine.
But
that's what they did. They sewed the election in early on through mentions and stuff, and then the election, as the show progressed, was hinted at and developed, and then hyper focused on last episode, just to be written off immediately in this episode.
Right, but they aren't you. Like what you're doing is totally fine. But that's your style. It's not required.
Also, hinting something
you don't have
in a
to
narrative
do the same
is a
rules.
detail.
It's not just a minor detail. I was gonna call you
No.
Emily. Oh God, wrong person.
Who's Emily? No,
Who's
if
Emily,
you
Andy?
state something that then becomes a major plot point, using the pharmacist thing, if Jade goes, oh yeah, my parents are pharmacists, and suddenly someone's dead by poison and someone knew how to use the poison, that detail is now important, whereas before it was just a detail, but it's still a detail. It's not a plot point, it's a detail.
But it's still a plot point. It's a plot point for the event.
No, it's a detail.
Election is an event.
The plot point is the person being dead. The detail is now an important detail, but it's not the plot point.
But the election is a plot point here. Who's going to win the election? Who's going to determine the future of the town? That's the plot point. That's a plot point. Is that not a plot point?
It would be if that was their intention, but they've clearly written in a way that it's not.
But then you're also assuming
I don't know how much is mentioned.
Okay, but so are you, though.
Are you not? I feel like we're all assuming intentions at this point.
I mean, I'm not necessarily assuming their intention. I'm just looking at it from a flat-out story perspective.
You are.
So in that case, you and I have the exact same perspective.
No, but you were saying, well, that's not their intention. How do you know it's not their intention?
How do you know that is their intention?
I'm not saying either way. I'm not saying I know what their intentions are because I never used the word intention when I was saying this.
But what I'm saying though is that we are both making an assumption about the story based on what we think they were going for. But what I'm trying to say is that
that's on analysis.
Is right. That's just called media literacy. But like what I'm saying is we can have these different interpretations. Whatever. I clearly have different definitions. Whatever. But
yeah.
But this started with me pushing back because you used this as a negative. Which I don't love because I don't think anything was wrong with the way they handled it. You could handle it differently, that's fine, but I don't think that's what they were going for.
I mean, also, to be fair,
this feels like my GCSE English class.
I'm also wondering if it's a budget reason or why they would potentially skip an election. I'm not saying it's a good story reason or a good story excuse of why you would skip over that, but it is potentially a budget reason, much like the dead what was her name? Prism's death, where instead of seeing her body or like the wreckage of the store,
Prism's death would have been so expensive.
We don't see that. So it is potentially them wanting to save money on scenes and stuff for either a future episode or just wanting to save budget. But at the same time, that works as an explanation. But to me, it doesn't work as an excuse. And that, like, you can like with any TV show or any production, you can do whatever you want to save on budget or time or whatever, but it doesn't automatically equal it's okay. It just means that's probably what happened behind the scenes.
You are right. We agree on that front. But what I'm saying is that they don't need an excuse because nothing was wrong with the way they handled it.
I think there's something wrong with telling, not showing. In most majority of narratives, very few narratives I think ever get away with it, and I don't think this narrative gets away with it. Okay. Like just as a storytelling rule, this narrative can't get away with it theoretically at all, or anyway. Which again, I would just avoid emphasizing certain plot points if you're not going to pay them off on screen.
I feel like it was paid off.
Well, it's paid off, but not paid off well. But like, I would avoid emphasizing stuff to a certain degree, because you shouldn't because when you emphasize certain character dynamics, certain ideas, certain stuff, it's not paid off properly, and it's just kind of written off or just like mentioned offhandedly. Again, from a writing perspective, you end up it doesn't end up well, because then it ends up either A, the script was messy, or B, you just kind of got lazy. Crap. Oh, also another thing. And also,
by the way, whenever Bakeup's back, we are ending stream.
Yes, but like another thing.
We've been going at this for 37 minutes.
Oh, we have. Well, listen, okay. I may put a comment down. I may send it to everyone's comment account. Be like, hey, if you want to skip to where we start the outro, go to this timestamp, because we're just kind of talking about nonsense for a series.
I don't know. Sure, yes. I would be interested though to see if anyone sat here to listen to us bicker about this. I'd be interested in seeing people's.
I mean, we kind of went in circles, and
yeah, but I'd be interested to see what the comments think about the ideas we're posing, though. I want to see what like what the general opinion is on the election and its placement in the show.
Yeah, which, by the way, this show is 4 years old. I'm surprised it doesn't have at least 100K views based off the quality of each episode, though, because the quality of each episode was pretty high. I'm surprised this show isn't like super popular on the channel.
How much are we at? 59K? Yeah, that's not.
I mean, that's not bad necessarily, but that's also not great, because for
their
channel.
Oh, but then again, they have 88.7K subs though. So that's a pretty good ratio.
That's a pretty good ratio for that. I just kind of wish a show like this, though, because the amount of quality in the show is really high, actually. Like, my issues with the writing aside from time to time, the quality of the show and, like, quality of the writing most of the time and acting is really high, and I'm honestly surprised it just doesn't have more attention.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird, actually, because on this channel, we review actually decent stuff. But then on Jacob's channel, it's all just garbage.
Okay, sometimes there's decent stuff, but that's like a diamond in the rough.
But it's the exception, not the rule.
Unfortunately. But, I'm sure Bake Up has some stories of their favorite Gotcha reviews. Speaking of which, Bake Up's still gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe we should just end the stream?
No, because we need... They said BRB. I'm assuming that they're not operating on Aiden time.
Hey, Aiden time is... How dare you? How dare you?
Look, man, you take a while. You are not as punctual as I wish you were sometimes.
Okay, I'm a busy person. And,
that's fine. I just wish whenever you said 5 or 10 minutes, you actually meant 5 or 10 minutes.
I intend to do 5 or 10 minutes, and then something gets in my way.
Then I would appreciate if you updated it before the time arrives.
Well, normally I'm not on my computer for that. Normally I'm like far away from my computer.
Okay, but I mean, you have a phone.
I'm not on Restream on my phone. I mean,
right. Well, I mean in Discord, like you could just update us on like, what's happening.
And to be fair, sometimes when I disappear, that's also because I get socially burnt out for a moment. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna disappear for like 10 minutes.
I mean, that's fine, but I just wish you said that.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes I also get quiet and I get socially burnt out. It's great.
I'm usually pretty good about saying high energy for streams. But it's kind of like streams activate a part of my brain that is just all about like the content, and it's kind of like a high that after the stream, like give it like maybe 5 minutes and I just crash.
Yeah.
That's why every time we do this, there's always, and we want to do something else after, I'm always like, give me a second. Because give me like 5 minutes, I'm not gonna be in the mood to do fucking anything.
Oh wait, Lady Mania re-uploaded episode 1 of Mystic Hills remake.
Oh.
Why though? No wait, oh wait, no, she re-uploaded it because she combined part 1 and part 2 together. That's why it's got re-uploaded, because part 1's on her channel, but like she re-uploaded it with both parts just together.
Here, Mystic Hills. Mystic Hills. Fuck, what's it called?
The Magic Within.
Mystic Hills, Lady
Mania.
The Magic Within, yeah. Alright. Is this what I think? Oh, weird. She re-uploaded it, but she still has the original up.
Yeah, well, the original just says part 1, and it's like only 14 minutes, so I guess this is like part 2, just combined with part 1, just re-upload together.
Yeah, which I don't hate. I've always thought that, like, if you have to put down part 1, part 2 on an episode, just make it one episode, but...
Yeah, I mean, I generally do that. Well, it depends. Sometimes I label stuff part 1, part 2, because they're not the same story, but they're very connected stories. Like, I like label my finales part 1, part 2 sometimes. Like, Fallen Angels finales, I labeled it part 1, part 2.
Also, this is the newest reboot. I was wondering if it was the one that I was hoping it was.
I think there was 3 How many?
There's like 3 or 4 incarnations, yeah. And not all of them are easy to find if they are able to be found.
Which
how many reboots are gonna need?
Well, the thing is, I had a theory that ended up being correct. They canonized it in, like, I think the second to last reboot, but I think they deleted or privated that version, so now I don't even have that anymore. The only way to get that is Jacob's review.
Oof.
I think.
Jacob, the one and only archive.
Yeah, Jacob is the perfect archivist.
Yeah, he really is a vault. He is just a vault.
He's so good at it. There's so much stuff on his channel that's only on his channel now. Like, I think there's like Beauty is Pain. It's like, for example, it's like
all of my videos. I mean, Emily's videos.
I'd be curious.
Oh yeah. Oh, Taming the Bad Boy.
If you go down all of Jacob's if you went down all of Jacob's reviews and you clicked the links of the original, I wonder what the ratio is between stuff that is like gone and the stuff that is still around.
Oh wait, all the judgment, all judgment from Blackjack as well is archived on Jacob's channel. Oh god.
Yeah, I mean, he has a ton of shit there that just can't be found anywhere else.
Oh god.
I hope one day that Jacob becomes big enough and widespread enough that people like that are really into like the niche like archive shit like really get into Jacob, because I think Jacob's channel has indirectly become a gold mine for that community.
It has.
He didn't mean for it to be, but that is what it is now. That's right. I also wanted to show my slushie. I said I'd show it at the end. So I've shown Aiden, but I want to show you as well, Jacob. Because I'm proud of it. Present image file. There you are. Behold.
It's very gay. It's a very gay slushie.
Oh, homosexuals.
Yeah, me and a friend made the pride flag. We experimented a little bit with slushy flavors, and we got this. As you can tell, ours are different colors. They did it first, and that's how we found out. Like they have the right flavors, but we hadn't figured out the proportions yet.
I mean, mine still is like a giant combination.
Yeah, mine still isn't perfectly done as far as the proportions, but it's quite a bit closer.
I mean, I would say the one problem is like you can't really have blue or purple properly, because it kind of looks like there's like a dark navy blue instead of blue and purple.
No, so so that's the thing. There's an extra color that we had to put in because we had to make purple. So we put in a little bit of like 2 flavors, and then we grabbed our straws and just like mixed until it turned purple, and then we went on to the rest. Yeah, there wasn't like a grape or anything. If there was, that would have been significantly easier. But
also, from a slushy perspective, I also probably would add a little more orange because orange kind of blends in with the yellow and red.
Yeah.
So probably a bit more orange would have been a better way to go. It would have helped it a little bit.
Yeah, well, the problem is because again, the proportions weren't right, so I was just trying to scrape. Like, I was just trying to get enough of it at a certain point where you still noticeably have the full flag. We didn't do the progress flag though because it wasn't.
I feel like that requires a lot more art. That requires a lot more art.
That's the thing, yeah, because like you have the original flag and it just goes like up to bottom, which is great if it's a cup. Progress flag is a little bit different because it goes sideways and shit, and so that's a whole other ball game.
You need to make like latte art for that one.
Yeah.
Do people actually do latte art of that? Actually, that'd be awesome.
That'd be so sick. That's got to be something.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, we were thinking about doing other flags, but we wanted to start out with the pride flag just as like a base. Because we were like, well, if we're gonna go to do the other pride flags, we may as well like start out with like the umbrella, you know.
How did that?
It wasn't terrible. We thought it would taste awful. It wasn't awful. Its taste was like it's a weird way to describe. So it starts out quite okay. Let's say you get like a proper gulp. It's like pretty sweet, but then it gets really tangy in the middle, and I think it's the mango. But it gets really tangy in the middle to a really like a pretty dissatisfactory degree.
What flavor is the green?
Let me see. I have the recipe pulled up in docs. It is sour apple.
Oh. Is the red cherry or strawberry?
It is. It was meant to be Rooster. It was meant to be something called Rooster Booster. But it was deactive that day, and so we had to settle for Big Red.
Ah. Anyways, we have streamed for long enough. We should end the stream here.
Yeah, we got like our average length though. So
yeah, leave a like or dislike because your opinion matters. And until next time, farewell. Chilpip kaka.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Wow, that sounded like Emily.
And